Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be putting a custom grill in my 2010 Ford F-150. So you can see I'm doing this at night just because it's been like 90 degrees with 1000% humidity here in West Virginia. So nighttime ends up being the best time. So you have to bear with me on the lighting. I'll try to do my best on it. But first thing we got to do is get this grill out of the truck. So let me show you what it takes for that. All right guys, so we're going to be taking this grill, this whole shell off because we have to modify it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these off here. They're 10 mil, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts across the top, and then one more here, and this whole grill shell should pull off where we can bring it inside and actually work in some light. So let me get that off. All right, to give you a little update here, I went ahead and took these out so I could take the brackets out first. So that's them right there. So as you can see, these nuts stayed in the truck, and that is because Ford used some plastic clips to thread those up in. So they come out super easily when you go to turn them. There ain't much to them. They just slid in there. Mine broke out. I'll show you on the truck or show you on the grill where they're supposed to go in and clip and hold on, but yeah, it's almost guaranteed you will break them, especially on a truck that's 12 years old. So those are out, and then across the top you have push-in clips. There's 5 of them. So I used my tool, my body tool, took them off, but yet I still broke 2 of them. So right now we'll go ahead and take off the rest of this stuff that I'm not going to need. So this whole center grill essentially is going to be cut out. Now let me show you the grill that I got for it. All right, so here's the grill I got. It's a full billet grill, same to match the lower billet grill right there. So what it does is this whole entire centerpiece gets cut out, and you're just left with this the frame. So the first thing we'll do is I'm gonna go through and finish taking these out. As you can see, that's those little clips I'm telling you about. Nothing at all holds them in. It's really ridiculous. There ain't nothing to it. With 2 hands I can pop this guy out. But I'm gonna take all that out, take his grill shell out, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my plastic welder out and see if I can't bridge these tabs back together here. As you can see, there's not much that hold these things. That one's cracking too. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take these clips off, plastic weld this one back on, then cover them in epoxy and let it sit up overnight. All right, so the idea here is I'm gonna plastic weld this wire mesh, basically melt it down inside that tab, and then what I'll do is I'll melt it down inside the back side. I'm going to do this on both sides, and then I've got my 2-part epoxy over here somewhere. I'll show you in a minute, but I'm just going to lightly clean up these other ones and just give them a good coating down around in here. Try to make a solid piece so it'll still stay rigid, and hope for the best, because you can see these have very little support while these look pretty good. So let's try to get these connected back together, and I'll show you the end result. All right guys, I wanted to show you, so this is the clip it broke. So as you can see, I've melted some wire mesh down inside of it. So that's what it looks like before I actually go and add the black plastic. So this black plastic comes in just a strip, and you melt it down, and you can melt it into the other plastic. So now you can see that that thing is pretty solid without even having any epoxy. So what I'll do is once that's cool, I'll go in and reshape it, thin this down a little bit, work it down out to the bottom, and then after I get those thinned out to where they need to be, like I said, I'm just going to take a little bit of epoxy and put in around these. I'm not going to melt any into these like these that I already broke, because these are still decently structurally sound. You can see that one's starting to crack. But once I get that cleaned up and pour the epoxy and make it solid, it'll be just as strong as these. So go ahead and get this one connected, get those melted down, and these cleaned up, and I'll show you what it all looks like with epoxy on it. Alright, so got the epoxy on there, which I use JB Weld plastic epoxy. So you can see I put extra all around every one of them just to kind of tie it in. But we're going to let that sit overnight, and then tomorrow we'll proceed on cutting out this grill shroud, or this grill surround. So tomorrow we're going to take every bit of this out, so see how it goes. Alright guys, next day here. So the clips dried overnight really well. So today we cut. So as you can see how this overlays in, we're going to save all these side pieces, and we're just going to cut on these main pillars going across, because it's going to use these bottom pieces right here to attach on, and then you see you got them across the top too. So we're going to cut out these main pillars. I've already taken out the side scoops, or the side vents. You see them laying there on the floor. They just pop out. So now let's take the Dremel and cut across all these pieces here, and I'll show you what it looks like finished. All right, the grill center section is out. I cut high on a lot of them because I just got to see how this fitment goes, because you can always remove more, you just can't add more. So always remember that. So let's place this in and see what it looks like. All right, so I got the grill just sitting in there. So it looks like that it's going to slide all the way back in, but I can't right now because those are hitting up there. So I'm going to have to trim that section back there. Same on this side, and then do a refit. Might have to bend some of these tabs a little bit to get it to fit flusher, but looks like these, there's some standoffs here that kind of line off with the ones I cut, but then kind of don't. So I'm just going to play around with it, but that's how it fits in. So let me do some trimming here and do some more fitting, and then I'll show you what the end product looks like, where I'm happy with starting to put the clips and the mounting bolts in. All right, so I went ahead and I took my Dremel with the sandpaper, cut it down to where it was close to the bottom, all along the edge. As you can see, now it's all flat, except for these standoffs. Then I took my block and I blocked everything flat, so you can't see it. So now I set my grill in there, and that sits flush, basically, up against these stops. It's pushed out a little bit right now, but I'll push it back in. So, let's see here, sorry. Push it in. So it basically goes up against where the factory stops are. So as you can see right here, I'm going to have to notch out a little bit there. Maybe, maybe not. But what I did have to do is I had to go through the center here and put a little bend all along this edge here to get it to conform to the bend of this grill, because it was bent out a little bit. As you can see, I got it a little bit too much on this end. You can see the gap down, and then you see it's flush up there. So I had to work a little bend out here, but for the most part, it's in there where it goes. So it is a little bit involved. It just ain't coming in, cutting, and then slapping it in. You do have to fit it. But I think once I can get it to where it sits flush in there, I'll go ahead and just wash this whole grill down, and then I'm going to take some black paint and I'm going to go back over these grayed edges where I sanded, so you won't be able to see them behind. And then hopefully once I get that and I get it all bolted in, I can try. I've got a new grill emblem, the black one to match of the back, if you see me put on my Instagram. But I can try to fit that in there and bolt it in, kind of like the original one. So you see, it used these plastic twist nuts, which those are annihilated, but I have some new ones. Then I came out here, I took my vice grips, locked on, and I got those nuts off how they should be. And they're in there soaking right now to get cleaned up as it starts to rain. But once I get that, I don't know on these tabs in the middle exactly where they expect you to bolt to.
So you can see they're just hanging out. Nothing to bolt to there. What I may end up doing, let's flip it around here and look and see. This is just an idea. As you can see, it's fitting in there pretty easily. It just fell right out. But I might I don't know, there's really ain't bolting to nothing. So the only bolt points I would have would be here, 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 potentially here. This one's offset, so that may not happen in here, which I'm sure that's well enough to hold it. But these two guys here, even if I bent them around, they'd have to bolt through themselves, which that probably is not right. I have to do some figuring here because I really don't want the center of the grill not supported. So let me look into this and I'll let you know how we'll do it. But I'm going to go ahead and just get this bent around, get it placed in exactly where I want it, and then get this cleaned up. So I test fitted the grill and got it all in. Now let me show you what I did. So I went ahead and notched out of the grill to where I could actually slide these clips on. So I done it here. I shaved down these posts to where I could get these on. Done it here, and I done it up here in these corners. So all I did is took the Dremel and notched out until these fit over the holes where it drilled. So all those are done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the grill in, and then I'm gonna put it on the truck and see if I can find a location to bolt these other two in that doesn't bolt to the grill. So let's see what it looks like. So I washed and cleaned the grill. Got everything cleaned on it. Then I went out here, went ahead, those have been soaking in PB, and then I cleaned them with acetone. So I'm letting them dry out right now in preparation for epoxying them back into place. So as you know, like I said, this is where those are going to slide into. They came out yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and epoxy those in place so they'll stay there, and then I'm going to get my black paint and touch up everywhere I said I would where I have exposed plastic. So that's the step I'm on now. I'll get that and let that be setting up. And then while that's setting up, I had some, this is aluminum hood, so Ford was kind of bad about corrosion underneath. So I'm gonna sand that down a little bit, touch it up with some etching primer and paint while that other dries. So let's get going. Now these are dry. They've been sitting out in the sun. As you can see, they're solid as rock. I painted up all these open places like I said I would. So now it's ready for that grill to go in. So I'm going to grab it, which is sitting right here. Go ahead and get it put in. As you can see, I also already went ahead and put these clips on and put that gasket back in. So right now, all that's left to do is put that grill in, bolt it down, make sure it's evened up and level where I want it. And then it's time to put it into the truck. I went ahead and touched up those places. I didn't have the exact collar, but enough to seal it and you shouldn't see it. I will have to get some spray Pueblo Gold so I can do some touch up on this truck. But anyways, let's get this grill in there and then let's get it on the truck. All right, so this is what the grill looks like into the truck. Pretty good. All the edges here lined up pretty well going back in. Like I said, it took a whole lot of adjustment to get to this point, but that is what it looks like finished up. Now at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and keep going and get this new emblem in the center here. So what I gotta do is measure the center point vertical and measure the center point horizontal to get that perfect spot in the grill. So let me show you what I did with the emblem. This is the same emblem as you've seen on my Instagram that I put on the back of the truck. So you see it's got a double-sided back to it. So I went ahead and took wax and grease remover and I cleaned this center bar. And then it's got these 3 posts that was for lining it up in the back. But I went to the parts store and got some of these. They're called thread cutter nuts. So they're the thin metal ones that basically cut their own threads, as you can see. And what those will do is go up against the back of this metal frame and give it that extra support. So let's get some measuring in, get this installed, and I'll show you the final product. All right, so got it measured out here. It ended up being like 6.6 to the center, and then it was like 22 over on the vertical. So I went ahead and of course, I said it does double-sided tape, and I put those nuts, thread cutters on it. So that's holding it on there. Right now, it seems to be doing pretty good. I'll keep you up to date on it. As of course, you know, you're driving, it rattles. But let's go ahead and shut it down. And do one of the most satisfying things. All right, and there it is. That is the complete grill install on a custom cut 2010 Ford F-150.
So that's it for this video. If you guys like what you're seeing, please subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram, Mustang Jackson 67, as I do different stuff all the time. And of course, I'm going to be continue to work on this truck quite a bit. I try to get more videos and get posting a lot more. So please like, tag, share, follow. Until next time, let's keep building.